Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another small land vehicle that's just for a bit of fun, but it does pack a nice bit of utility if you do want to use it in survival mode or just playing around with it in creative mode. So this is called the Track Bobcat, which is this lovely thing you see in the background, and it behaves just as you expect from a vehicle that looks just like this. So grab and hold my character, we're going to hop into the cockpit and I'll show you what it can do, or at least the basic controls of what it can do, before going around the outside and all of that. So once we're in the cockpit, we've got four main controls to go through, where number one, number two is going to be to raise and lower our big arms at the back of the vehicle. When we raise it up, when we move it down, there's going to be a little snap as it moves into position. It's perfectly safe, there's no actual risk with this, it's just how it's been all set up. So moving it up again, there are sort of snaps, moving up again, then down, down again. Anyway, if we were to press number 3 or number 4, this is now going to rotate the front section to make sure we can get into the exact position we need, be able to say pick stuff up, or properly position the other tools in this pack, which is a drill and a welder. But yes, pressing number 3, that's going to tilt it back, and then pressing number 4, that's going to tilt it forwards. There we are, the slight snap once again, and that's all it does, just moves in incremental lots, till you get into the position where you want it to be. Anyway, we're going to put that all the way back, like so. Hopefully I can put it all the way back. I'm not too sure what's happened here, I think I might have broke it. There we go, that should do quite nicely. Then we're going to move it all the way down, and there we are. As for the rest of the controls, we'll go through that later on, but we can detach this and attach it. Then for the other heads, they're just sitting right over there. They come attached onto the vehicle via some red blocks. Once you spawn in, you see we remove those red blocks, then you're ready to go. You just drive up behind these, hit the corresponding button in the cockpit, and then it snaps onto the vehicle. Anyway, with my character once again, he can just stay in there for the moment. Going to come like so, press F10, find it in spawn menu. So this thing is 276 small blocks, using the Wasteland and Deco Block number 2 DLC packs. We see here a nice bit of information about it, such as the attachments it comes with, but we already talked about them. Then down here, which I always love, is all the controls of what it does, and well, how to use it. And of course there's the scripts it uses, that's how the wheels have been set up so it can slide around on the spot. And then another little cosmetic script for your brake lights. So we'll give this thing a thumbs up. There we go, we'll move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside. Of course we'll drive around for a bit, test out the other heads, and I think that'll be that. So at the very front of this thing, in fact what I've got to do is just go and press number 9, disconnect that. Now just going to drive this thing backwards and move the camera slightly forwards. There we are, that'll do quite nicely. Yes, away from here, at the very front of the vehicle, now with the head removed, this is what we get. Well, as you can see, we've got ourselves our standard cockpit to drive this thing around with a spotlight right above that. On the left and right hand side, we can see our long arms that lift it up and down, with some hinges on the front of it that lead on some steel blocks, with a half hinge, which is how we're going to attach it onto our other tools, depending on what we want to use. Come further down to here, we'll see some more steel blocks. Then around on the side, here we go. These are our wheels and how they've been set up. So my light turned on, there we go, we've got 4 large ones, 1 small ones, then of course the track mod that's been put all the way around this thing. The track mod is fully animated and will of course move with the vehicle, but once again, it's not necessary. If you do want to use that mod, you just use it as a pure vanilla design. Of course, right behind there we can see all of our wheel suspensions flickering in and out because they have been built into some steel blocks. Up here is another interior light, then above that we can see a very clear view of our arm to lift it up and down. We see a 1 on the side there, we've got an orange strip, then at the back we've got a hinge to lift it up and down. Come all the way across over here, turning my light once again. At the very back of this thing, this is what we get, so we've got 1 connector to dock it up, recharge up your batteries, and of course unload and load anything this collects, especially with the welding head, and of course the drill head. We also got 2 spotlights, and this could be controlled via our scripts. We've got our brake lights, and of course our turning signals, so people behind you know where you're going. Then moving all the way up looking down, here we go, so past our orange connector, there's a medium cargo container for you to store all the stuff inside, there's a rotating light on an antenna, and then above our cockpit we've got some barred windows with a light right in the middle. Come all the way down underneath this thing, here we go, so that's all we can see, so we can see part of our suspension block, but then we've got some armoured panels just covering everything up, make sure it's nice and neat below here, then of course there's a very clear view of our tank tracks going along both our wheels. And yes, as for that, that's pretty much it for the outside. What I'll do very quickly is come all the way through here, so we've got one hell of a lot of stuff hidden away, where most of it is going to be batteries to make sure it's got a nice lot of power. There's our gyroscopes, so we have to dig quite far into the vehicle if you do want to fiddle around with them, or well, repair them up and grind them up depending on what you want to do. Towards front, there we are, we've got ourselves a programmable block, so coming all the way up to here, here's our brake lights, then across to the opposite side, there will be our tank steering scripts. At the front there, a large battery. Then all the way through, we've got some artificial mass that'll eventually come out towards our cockpit, and there we are at the very front. But then as for our tools, so over here it's our general lifting up and down of cargo containers or steel blocks to move it where it needs to go, load up trucks, load up any kind of ships, and all of that. So the back there's our connection point in the form of half hinges. Then towards front, there's our magnetic plate, which you will need to be very careful of when it is like it is right now. So if it's clamped on the ground, then we bring the vehicle all the way out to it, connect to it, there's a very high chance the game is going to go very weird and you're going to ping into space. So do make sure you disconnect them before actually connecting it up, which might prove a bit difficult while when actually trying to connect out the rear of this thing. Anyway, over to here is our drilling head. So once again, we've got our half hinges onto some steel blocks that comes across onto our drill. Very self-explanatory, but we then select that in the cockpit and start mining stuff up. Then over to here is a very similar setup, but this time we've got ourselves our basic welder, which I suppose you could go around weld up a base if you want to do that. As for that, that's pretty much it for the outside of what this thing has to offer. It looks fantastic, and it is a hell of a lot of fun to drive around. I've been testing this out for quite some time now, and it's just a nice lot of fun. The one thing that you will find with this vehicle when you spawn it in straight from the menu is it's going to be very, very odd with the turnings. It's going to feel like it's skating on ice. So what you want to do is just come over to tab number 1 and fiddle around with 7 and 8 to get it where you want it to be. I personally find it being on 20% or around 15% be very good. As I say, put it all the way up to basically how it was. It was about on 90%. There we go. And we're turning it around with that turned off. There we go. It becomes very, very slidey, very easy to lose control, and very easy to slam straight into one of your tools and break it. So I like to have it all the way down at about 20%. There we go. So now when we turn it around, we're much, much more slower and much easier to control. But speaking of controls, for the rest of this thing, we've got ourselves number 1, turn our batteries to auto or recharge. Number 3 is then for your spotlights at the front, turn them on and off. Number 4 is then for your lights on the side, turn them on and off. So they are now lit up, and now they turn off. Number 5 is then for your connector at the back to lock and unlock it. 7 and 8 is what we just went through for our wheel controls. Number 9 is for that antenna on top, turn it on and off. Then over to tab number 2, 1, 2, 3 and 4 we've already gone through, that's to raise and lower your arms. Number 5, number 6 and number 7 is to actually utilise your tools that's actually connected onto the vehicle. Then number 8 and number 9 is to attach and detach the tools, depending on what you want to swap out. Over to tab number 3 we've got nothing else. So we are going to do first person view, come all the way up to this, and I think I'm going to choose the drilling head. And we're going to be very careful with this and slide all the way out to it. It's very hard to see in the first person view. It would be a very good idea to have a camera lower onto this vehicle. But no, we're just going to use the third person camera all the way out to it, like so. That looks just about right. Then once we're in position, we press number 8 and it will snap straight onto it. I was in the wrong position there, so all the way out to it. Pressing number 8 is now near the nub. The vehicle will kick back, but now I can press number 2 and then lift this all the way up. So there we go. Pressing number 1, that's the wrong control. And there we go. We now press number 3, number 4 to tilt that around. Then as you can see, number 5 is now lit up. We take over that and start drilling it. So we see what we're doing. That's all fun and dandy. And of course, once we're done with this, we now press number 9. That's going to disconnect that. That drops onto the ground. And we go and swap to a different tool. I suppose what we'll do is now switch over to the welder, because that's one we have not seen yet. So bring that all the way down. There we go. Turning this thing around. Now really allow myself to be perfectly upwards. It's very odd to control this thing. I'm very used to vehicles that have tank tracks being controlled with the gyroscopes. So no, this one is full wheel controlled. So all the way up to this once again. Here we go, very carefully. Now you probably hear me tapping on the keyboard. So it's quite fiddly to get it into position. And I think I have to reverse up, move all the way forwards once again, being very careful. And it looks pretty good. As you can see over there, I had a small accident just a minute ago, where I caused a gigantic hole and blew up the welding head, as well as the drill head. And while that vehicle is now firmly stuck in there. But anyway, we're now going to come over to tab number 2 once again, drop this all the way down, press number 8, and there we go, we're now fully connected up to our welder. And we now raise this all the way up, there we go, and tilt that all the way down, and start welding stuff up. In fact, I can always come up to this vehicle and try to weld it up. That's not going to really help it at the end day, because it's firmly stuck in the hole. So now drop that all the way down, across to here, and we'll just start welding it up. So just pretend that's welding, and that's all done. But anyway, we're going to drop that off. And now it's time to actually try this thing around to see how it handles. So it means we're using a tank track script, which is quite a hard sentence to say. When we hold A or D, we're now going to spin on the spot. So it's doing a full 360. And there we are. We will move forwards and backwards slightly, so do be aware of that when actually trying to connect this up or trying to maneuver around in a tight area. Yes, if you're very careful, make sure this setting at the front here, the wheels are set all the way down. It should not be an issue at the end of the day. And of course, if you set them all the way up, there we go, and start spinning around, it is going to be slightly more uncontrollable. Now you can see we're starting to veer off quite a lot. Anyway, moving forwards, here we go, and this is what we get. So it's basically just a regular land vehicle. The tank tracks, once again, do not do anything. We are purely on wheel power. It's just a visual thing. Anyway, slamming on the brakes, there we go, reversing this thing up. It's quite speedy. And while the speed limit has been set quite nicely to make sure you're not going to damage this thing, and you're not going to damage anything you're carrying or while picking up and trying to transport. Of course, turning around once again. And there we are. But as for that is pretty much it for the Bobcat, or the Track Bobcat, has to offer. It's a fantastic little vehicle if you do want to have something with nice bit of utility on there to play with in your world, even if you're just messing around in creative mode and just want to lift stuff up, load up some vehicles, maybe load up a train. Say you've got a train world all set up, that could be a bit of fun to mess around with. So I suppose to end this video, what I'm going to do now is come over here, find the wheels, and undo the speed limit, and we'll ride it to destruction, blow up that way, and then that'll be it. So finding our wheels, over to here, and I'll just bring the strength all the way up, removing the speed limit, there we go, and away we go. So we've got a nice lot of power behind this thing, because it starts shaking quite a lot. And here we go, 50. Oh, we're sort of capping out at about 60. Not too sure we're going to be able to get up to 70 meters per second, but yes we have. We'll be able to get up to 80 before it crashes. Oop, that looks like it is it. We're doing a slight cartwheel, spinning all the way around, third person view. That's what it looks like. The arms are lifting up and down. And then we come to a stop. It looks like we haven't actually damaged too much. There was some smoke at the back there. Looks like we have damaged one of the hinges, or at least one of the conveyors that connected up under that arm. But yes, that seems to have done very, very well. For something that was designed at traveling at 12 meters, traveling at 80 meters per second. But here we go one more time. Hopefully we find a cliff edge. It's back in the third person view. Here we go. Now I'm going to decrease that just a little bit, give ourselves a bit more stability. And off we go. So once we get to about 80 meters per second, it starts to veer off quite a lot. And that's where the trouble starts to happen. There's a random little tree in the middle of nowhere. And we're just going to keep on going. So we're still capping out at about 80 meters per second. I don't think we can get out to 90. I think this is about it for what this vehicle can handle. But yes, as it is, it does very well at high speeds. If you do need to skedaddle away from an enemy. Oh, there we go. That's probably it. No, it's not. Will this destroy it? I'm not too sure, but we lost our connector at the back. Here we go. That should be it. And there goes our arms on top. Now spinning around. That is my neck. And now we are upside down. And there we go. We just self-righted. Third person view. And once again, it's not too bad. Sure, we lost our arms. We lost all of our functionality. But we can still drive this thing around. So we've got power. We've still got control. And we just keep on going. But yes, as for that is pretty much it for this vehicle. Like I said, there'll be a link to it. Description below. Do download and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.